Hello, Loving Without Boundaries community. Kitty Shambliss here. Super excited to be doing a success story with our amazing client, B. So, B, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy life and everything that you have going on to come talk to us and share your amazing transformation story with our community. So, yeah, just welcome. And I'd love it if you would just tell everyone a little bit about yourself in your own words, whatever you'd like to share.
First of all, Kitty, thank you so much for having me here and giving me the opportunity to talk about my story and my experience about your program. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm really happy to be here. So my name is B, and I'm Hungarian, but I lived in the UK for the past 12 years, and I enrolled into Kitty's Jealousy Survival Guide program in February this year. And I'm a proud graduate of the program.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are. And thank you for offering to do this interview. And yeah, I can't believe time goes so fast, but yeah, even just trying to coordinate doing the interview. So I really appreciate your patience with both of our schedules, because I know we both have a lot going on. So so the reason I love to do these interviews is a lot of times people don't realize that this type of help is out there. And a lot of times people are struggling on their own for months, sometimes even years. And so for whoever it might resonate with, where were you when you first reached out? What were some of your biggest struggles at that moment?
Oh yeah, that's the beginning, right? Before I reached out to you, I felt the most stuck in my life ever. I mean, generally in my life, all areas in my life, and also in my relationships. And yeah, I was basically anxiety walking on two legs, had really bad, yeah, had really bad sleep issues and health issues. I believe now that coming from my very strong mind-body connection. And going into a little bit more detail, I struggled with being stuck in the infatuation stages of relationships. So I jumped from relationship to relationship, and also had multiple partners at the same time without the knowledge of consent of everyone involved. And yeah, that wasn't really nice of me. So yeah, I didn't really want to carry on with that. I also spent 13 years in two long-term relationships where I let verbal abuse and control happen to me, and I was really desperate to exit that pattern and just break that pattern. And also 2 years ago, I got to a point where I said to myself that this is not good enough. Whatever I do in my life, wherever I end up, I still feel unhappy, unfulfilled, and I struggle with the very same problems. And I realized that I had victim mentality. Mm-hmm. And I used really unhealthy and unhelpful coping mechanisms to deal with pain, like running away, numbing, quitting quite easily. And I just wasn't ready to face my demons. And it was so easier to just come from a place that I'm a victim and you did this to me and life happened to me. Mm-hmm. And the third aspect was that I met met the partner that I'm currently with, and as we got closer and deeper, this was really a really new kind of partner in my life, and I wanted to make this happen. And so as we got deeper, guess what happened? All of my worst fears and insecurities just everything that I was running away from for the majority of my adult life, they just came to the surface. Mm-hmm. And hence everything coming from fear, like jealousy and possessiveness. And I realized that, okay, if I want to make this relationship work, finally ready to do the inner work, then I gotta change myself, and I got to do it now. So that was the final catalyst for me. So these were the issues. These were lifetime issues that I struggled.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Thanks for sharing so vulnerably. Yeah, and I remember that first conversation. I actually was reading your first intake form, the application that you filled out, and it was like, wow. Just reading that again and remembering just where you started and then how far we got you. So I really appreciate everything that you shared. That you were anxiety walking on two legs.
Yeah,
And that I love the self-responsibility in terms of what you're saying too. Like there was moments in your life where you realized that you had your victim stories and your coping mechanisms and that it wasn't working, that you were numbing out and running away from different problems, and then kind of pointing the finger outside of you for why this was all happening to you. I love how you said that, you realized that back then you thought life happened to you instead of you being at the helm of your life, getting to choose where you're going. And I really respect and honor the courage it took for you to reach out for help and to realize that you wanted to finally do something. You wanted to change these patterns, this cycle that kept happening. And just that I love the self-awareness too, to realize that you were in a newer relationship that was super challenging in a way, but in a good way, because it was helping you realize what you needed to change and how it just wasn't sustainable for it to go on the path that it was on.
Yeah.
So thanks for sharing all that so vulnerably. When you think back, what would you say were maybe some of the underlying issues that maybe you weren't even aware of at the time that was causing all that kind of perfect storm to happen for you?
Yeah. So I didn't know what was the underlying issue until I entered your program. I just know that I had all sorts of things wrong with me, like negative self-talk and bad coping mechanisms, but I didn't know where they were coming from. And with the help of your program, I identified that these were limiting beliefs running on subconscious programming and also my attachment styles. And I've never really knew that these things existed. So throughout my life, I changed where I lived several times. I changed my environment and tried to change my behavior. But what I didn't realize is that what we do consciously and how we live consciously is just a small percentage of our lives. And the biggest part is what lies underneath, and what runs the show is our subconscious. And if there's a conflict, then whatever I do on the surface, I'm going to sabotage my life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That comes from limiting beliefs. So to me, identifying limiting beliefs and attachment styles was a game changer. And I admit that throughout this program, when I did the work, because I really wanted to do the work with all my heart, and I went into it, okay, I'm gonna do this. Whatever happens, I'm gonna do this. I broke into pieces several times because I took myself apart, and I finally faced my demons and stop blaming others and stop the victim mentality. But this was all down to identifying limiting beliefs and facing that. Yeah, girl. Yeah, this is the facts you're working with, and as you say often, knowing what the problem is solving half of the problem. You keep saying something like that, right?
No, actually got it from my husband. He loves to say that. Now I'm going to mess it up, but it's something along the lines of a problem well defined is half solved. There you go. Problem well defined is half solved.
Exactly.
But yeah, I so honor that you showed up and you gave it your all. You went all in. You realized that this was your time. This was a gift you were giving yourself by giving yourself the space to work with a coach, surround yourself with a community of people who really get you and got you. And yeah, I just love how you did. You showed up really powerfully. And I often say, this isn't a little pill that you take. It's not an overnight program. It's a 9-week program for a reason, because you got to go deep. And I often love to say too, like sometimes we have to have a breakdown, have a breakthrough.
Yeah.
So I honor when you had those moments where you felt like you were breaking into pieces and you're like, oh my God, I have so much work to do. And I would just remind you, hey, that's great because now you know where the areas where the growth is. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
because all of us have work to do, myself included. It's just a matter of sometimes you need a coach or, somebody to kind of shine the spotlight with you and for you to show you where that work needs to be done. But then that's great because then you can get at the job of fixing it, right? And finding out where the next area of growth is, the next area of growth. And I think I really honor the courage that it took to finally face your demons. So, this work isn't for the faint of heart, right? It takes a lot of courage to do this work. Another thing I'd love to understand, B, is before you came into the program, I know you said you had, coping mechanisms and things like that, but what were maybe some other things that you tried that weren't really helping you before you came to do this work in the Jealousy Survival Guide program?
I've been interested in learning about human behavior and just understanding humans, how what makes us tick, what makes us move, where our motivation lies, and also in self-help since my early teenage years. So I read tons of books and also subscribed to self-help programs. I don't even know to how many.
Mhm.
And neither of them really sunk in, and neither of them worked, because that's just my experience, that the material that I was able to reach um, only scratched the surface, and I wasn't really at the best place to let
Mm.
the material sink in. So nothing really happened because I wanted to change the behavior on the surface and wanted to change habits, but that's just the conscious part, right?
Yeah.
So whatever I do on the conscious level, if I have limiting beliefs that I can't do this and I'm not lovable and my needs don't matter and I can't possibly be accepted for who I am, then
Mm.
I'm going to sabotage my
Mhm.
progress.
Mhm.
Like when someone wins the lottery and they go broke within a short period of time because they have a limiting belief around money. So I had this thing going on. So whatever I read, it was amazing. I built a vocabulary in self-help and self-knowledge, but I couldn't really apply it until your program. So
That makes a lot of sense. And I honor how vulnerable you're sharing. And and I love too how you're really honing in on that whole conscious versus the subconscious, because I love the metaphors that you're using too. Because I think that our conscious mind is like the tip of the iceberg, and underneath the water is all of that subconscious programming and conditioning. And we don't realize that that's actually running the show. So it's
yeah.
so eye-opening too that you tried different self-help programs and you got new vocabulary. So you were like, okay, so I kind of sound a little smarter, maybe, right? But I'm not actually fixing anything, because
So
you also didn't have maybe somebody truly like holding your hand and walking you through that, and also kind of picking you up when you fell in a way, because you are going to make wobbles, which is what I call them, along the way, and that's part of the process. But a lot of times if people try something and it doesn't work, they're like, oh, it doesn't work, so I'm just going to stop. And then they just quit and start to beat themselves up, right? So I love in the work that we did together, there is going to be wobbles, but it was great to be able to be there with you and hold your hand through it and be like, this is great. Here's what's great about this. What are you learning right now? And let's get you to the other side of it. And then let's work on whatever's the next thing that we need to work on. So that ever ending journey. So really beautiful how you describe that.
yes. What I really loved about the program with you, Kitty, that yes, there was someone holding my hand, and I know that I still can reach out whenever
Mhm.
and can be part of this community like forever until you have the
Mhm.
and it's this is amazing because uh, it's such when someone helps you and holds your hand, it makes things much faster. It
Mm,
compresses time. So I'm not going through like hundreds of books. This is exactly what you said to me in our very first call
mhm.
that I booked with you. That yes, I can help you. Uh, I can help you change things and get unstuck in a so much shorter period of time. And this is what happened to me. So on my own, it it may have taken me 6, 7, maybe 10 years to get to this
Wow.
level, or never. And
Mhm.
now, since February, I changed so much that if I look back to how I was, and I rewatch our very first course together, I can't believe the change. So, so compressed time with the help of you, I compressed time in my life.
Mhm.
and and I feel that there's a group and there's support that I can turn to. And there's also another program that builds on the Jealousy Survivor Guide program. That is a great thing, and that I can use that as well, and keep
Mhm.
carrying learning and growing and using the support. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's different. Yeah.
That's so awesome. And yeah, and I remember you even said that while we were in the program together that you rewatched your welcome call. I think it was around like week 5 and 5 weeks of working together, and you barely
Oh,
recognized yourself. You're like, "Oh my God, I can't believe where I was then." Not in a place of shaming yourself, but just really honoring that incredible journey and just thinking, "Wow, how far I've come." And we still have a number of weeks that we were still working together, and more powerful work that we were doing. So yeah, you made such an incredible transformation. And I definitely like to say I can be the guide, I'm kind of lighting up the path in front of you, but you're still the one that's walking the path. So I so honor all of the hard, incredible work that you did. And you also did it with style, with class and creativity. And that also just made it fun. It made the journey more fun. And on all the different calls, like we create that momentum to get you going, that accountability, plus again getting to know other people who are complete rock stars and fearless and courageous like you, who are doing that work alongside you. And that also just makes it so much more fun, but also more digestible in a way when you see, oh, okay, so they're having wobbles too, and they're having struggles too, and if they can do it, I can do it. And towards the end of the program, what I loved about you too is you were just so supportive and so amazing, with the people, that were just starting and are like really kind of scared at the beginning of the journey, which makes a lot of sense. So I really honor that as well. Um, Now, one thing I don't actually remember, how did you originally find this work in my program?
Well, it came from dealing with my current relationship. So as I mentioned, I noticed that all of my worst fears and insecurities and my worst behavior just came to the surface, and I wanted to do something about it. And I started researching material in the subject of jealousy. I bought a few books, read a few, listened to a few, and I found your book on Audible. I'm a really, really big Audible fan, and I listened to your book, and I absolutely loved it. And what's different about your book compared to other material, that sometimes in self-help, I've had that feeling that people were just trying to sell a product that they have no engagement with.
Mm,
But you instantly showed vulnerability, and I felt that this was coming from a real person with real experiences. And
mm,
I always honor when people show vulnerability and tell that, yeah, I was crying, I was there, so I know what I'm talking about. I read all the books, I went through all the pain, so I was there, I know what I'm talking about.
mm,
And that was the first step, listening to your book, and then I checked out your website, and just read some success stories, and I wanted to know more, and I booked my call with you.
mhm. Awesome. You did your homework there.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Once I started talking, I remembered about the book, but I didn't realize all the other things that you did too. Just kind of checking out the website and reading the case studies. But yeah, I mean, and obviously you've gotten to know me through the work that we've done together, because I'm an open book. I'm happy to share anything that's ever happened to me and answer any question. But 100%, I mean, one of the reasons I am so passionate about what I do is I've been where you were. I've been through depression. I've been, crying in a ball in the corner of the room, and I'm so passionate about what I do because I don't want to see other people suffer when they don't have to, right? Or, I mean, I always love the quote that pain is inevitable, but suffering is optional.
Yes.
And there's always going to be times in our lives where we suffer. But what's powerful is realizing that sometimes we're doing that to ourselves. And also sometimes, like you were saying earlier, we can learn how to shorten that amount of time. Why suffer for this long when we can suffer for, this long? And also do it, move through that space with other people, which just can make it so much more palatable is the only word I was thinking of there, and with a lot more empathy, alongside you. So thanks for sharing that, and I love that you got so much out of the book. But of course, one thing that some people ask me, would you say that what you got out of the whole program, how different is that from what you got from the Audible book?
Entirely different, because when I listen to a book or read something, I consume a material. With your program, this was active engagement. So it's a 9-week program, and there are modules available online, so I can learn and I can do my work on my own. Yet I can engage with others and I can ask for help, and we can discuss our progress. And the one-on-one calls and the group calls were such a boost, and they became part of my life. Attending those group calls twice a week, and I still miss them. And they became so natural. Yeah, I was there, and we shared where we were. We shared tears. We shared laughter, and helped each other. And there were always some. That there was always some very, very useful nugget that I could use. So there was always the boost that let's just keep doing this work. So this is entirely different. With this program, I've become part of a community and a support group, and met amazing people. And just knowing that you're not the only one dealing with the same problems, this is liberating, because I felt most of my life that I was on my own with these problems, and I felt really isolated. But when I connected with other people who had different lives, but all the underlying needs were similar, because we wanted to feel loved, and we wanted beautiful relationships and beautiful connections, it changes things, because you learn that you're not on your own and you can talk to others. So they were an incredible boost every single time. And that's some amazing people.
Yeah. And you were a rock star coming to, I think, literally just about every single call, because you just loved it.
I missed one call in 10 weeks.
I think when you were ill. Yeah. Which is amazing. Just showing that tenacity, that grit, that commitment to yourself, right? And your own progress. But also by coming on every call, you're also part of the solution in terms of being a support for everybody else too, which is so beautiful. And that even adds to your own sense of confidence and strength when you can see, by you showing up, you're helping other people. You're adding that, even when we're just creating a safe space, right? If somebody is sharing something really vulnerable that they're going through.
Yes, and I must tell you that often it was really hard to attend the call, because I was just in a hopeless, helpless state, and I just wanted to cry, and I found it hard to talk, and I just didn't want to connect to people, because I found something that was wrong with me, and I was beating myself up. But in the end, I said to myself, you can do this. This is why you're here, to do this work. Just reach out. Don't shut yourself away from this experience. So yeah, sometimes it was hard.
Yeah.
Uh,
And again, that's so beautiful that you were able to, I love, the self-talk, right? That intentional self-talk of, you can do this. This is why you're here. And, kind of like pulled up your own bootstraps. And then you would walk away, like you said, with either a nugget or feeling understood, or also maybe you forgot about yourself for a minute as you were kind of holding space for somebody else. Really amazing. When you first, the very, very beginning, would you say there was moments maybe right before you were about to start the work where you were skeptical?
Yes, there were. I felt skeptical during the first week, because I had this belief already that, oh yeah, I tried so many things, and nothing really works so far. Why would this be different? This is just another self-help course, and nothing's gonna change, and I've already known some of the vocabulary, and found the material similar at certain places. So yeah, why would this be different? And then I remembered what you said, that just keep an open mind and have the beginner's mindset.
Mm-hmm.
So I use this self-talk. Okay, stop this right now. I regularly talk to myself. Just be talking to me, and
Mm-hmm.
come up with a better way to deal with things. So yeah, um, yeah, I just kept an open mind, and I wanted to do the work. So I,
Mm-hmm.
I listened to you, and poured all my heart in the work. So
That's
yeah,
beautiful.
but it was coming from me that, yeah, why would this be something different?
Right.
Oh, we can't change things.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
You
Yeah.
know, before.
Uh-huh. Yeah, it's almost like we're putting up our own wall, for whatever. If it's staying in our comfort zone, even if the comfort zone is not very good, right? So yeah, like that desire to change is definitely really paramount. So it sounds like that would, in a way, was some of the jet fuel that kept you going. Was I don't want to stay stuck. I want to keep it. I want to keep an open mind to see where this is going to lead. And now it led to you doing this awesome interview with me. Um, and it looks like we have a few people who are watching. So if any of this is resonating, feel free to write in the comments. And also, if you have a question that we can answer, we'd be happy to do that. And then this is one of my favorite questions to ask: is what were some of the amazing results that you started to get, maybe first in the beginning, and then maybe by the end of the program?
Well, I first started seeing changing in me in week 3 into the program. Not really up till then, because it was all just overwhelming, and I was just getting used to the routine of the course, and which the Wednesday course were late night for me, so starting at 11 p.m. and yes, all the material was just overwhelming. But in week 3, I really started changing.
Mm,
And what changed is that I started to have a confidence in me, and started trusting the process, that yes, I can do this. I'm actually learning practical tools here that work, because I try them and they work, and
mhm,
and that's amazing. That yeah, I just started to be more confident. And in week 3, there is a super amazing tool that changed me completely. And what I mean by that is, I got triggered by a certain situation, and I would have used my usual coping mechanisms, and running my
mm,
subconscious programming, like running away, acting out, self-harming, lashing out, making not really appropriate comments, or being passive aggressive. But with the help of this tool, I was able to stop this. I was able to notice what that this was happening.
mhm,
I created a different space for myself. And in that space, I again had a self talk with myself that, okay, you have a choice here. You have a choice here to stop acting based on the old patterns.
mhm,
And you can be someone different. And what do you want here? And
mm,
what I wanted was that I wanted to act, wanted to come from a place of love and understanding. And that was a real game changer. And I wanted to go solution oriented in figuring situations. So I stopped myself because I noticed that what I was doing, the normal coping mechanism wasn't productive, and they just perpetuated me being stuck
Mm-hmm.
in an unhealthy loop, and that changed me. And up to date, still, this is one of my most important tool.
That's amazing. That's awesome.
Or that you know what I'm talking about.
Yes, yes. Yeah, no, and I purposely, like, the program's structured in a way where we kind of start with a bang to get you into action, right? Getting a lot of clarity about where you want to go, kind of creating like your North Star. And then we start layering on top of that with the limiting beliefs. And yeah, and then we just start giving you tool after tool after tool. But in week 3, I want to give you like a really and this is a tool that is in the masterclass. So if anyone hasn't seen the masterclass, you can watch that. I do it live once a month, but it's also under the files tab. There's a link to watch a recorded version of it. But yeah, it's really powerful to just start giving you tools that are easy to use, easy to understand. But then you also have worksheets to really walk you through it in a more detailed way. And once you practice and practice and practice, then you can start to use those tools on the fly, right?
Yes. That's what I failed to mention when you asked about how this program is different.
Okay.
It's different because it starts building up kind of slow. Let's just go slowly, and then it builds up and it gets more difficult, and it always raises the level. So it beautifully builds up. And also it's not about consuming a material like reading a book or listening to something. It is active engagement, because you are forced to think. If you want to do the work, then you gotta sit down with yourself and think. and and put things on paper and send it to you and discuss things. So this is active engagement. This is creating an output. So this is why it's so different. And this is one of the reasons why this program can be so transformative in a short period of time, because it's not just passive consuming a material.
Yeah. Go ahead. What were we gonna say?
There was a third change that I started to notice in a few weeks' time. That instead of this victim mentality that I mentioned before and just blaming others, I started taking ownership for my emotions and my actions, and started looking at myself that I have responsibilities too. I'm self-responsible. I want to be self-responsible. And if an event happened in my life that I wasn't happy with, I wasn't just like, oh my God, someone did this to me. I'm such a victim. You hurt me. You make me feel like this. No, I play a part, and I can also go solution-oriented, and I have choices. So instead of just going down in a hopeless, helpless state and being stuck there for a long period of time, I took responsibility and ownership and went into a solution-oriented mode. So these were really, really massive changes in me.
Yeah, and it's totally possible, right? Like, it wouldn't be possible if you, like you said, just read a book, or this was a 1-week program, right? Or we had one call, right? And that's why it is that 9-week, really robust, immersive program. And I still really want to highlight you here, because it's, I can be the coach at the gym, but you're the one that's lifting the weight, so you really going all in and putting into practice everything that you're learning, and having those tough conversations with yourself, right? And having those tough conversations with me sometimes in front of a live audience of like 5 people, right? But in that space, like, that's where you get out of your comfort zone, and that's where you grow, and that's where progress happens. And I just, over the moon just to hearing you talk about just taking that extreme ownership, because part of the reason we sometimes feel stuck is in that victim mentality. We're like, I'm powerless. I can't do anything.
Yeah.
life is happening to me. But as soon as you flip that around to, wait a minute, I'm at the helm of the ship of my life. I have choices. How did I play a part? And what can I do different next time? Now that I've got all these tools, which tool am I going to pull out of my
Yeah.
superhero tool belt, which is incredible.
Yes.
So, and I want to highlight a couple of things too. Just, I love how you said that you're creating output and that active engagement,
Yes.
and that constant practicing of what you're learning, so that you get better and better, which of course leads to your confidence building and having more security inside of yourself. And I also wanted to highlight that if we're not taught to like think about what we're thinking about. So
No.
it's almost like a practice where you're like, okay, so I'm going to start noticing and observing what's going through my mind right now. And is that stinking thinking? Can I turn that around? And if so, how? And then we give you tools to learn how to do that, first with me guiding you. But I often say, I'm not just giving you a fish, I'm teaching you how to fish. But that also doesn't mean that there's any shame in reaching out for help when you need help. Never.
It's a form of self-care, right?
Exactly.
So yeah,
Yeah.
and I've always probably a few people or more people or a lot of people can relate to that reaching out for help or going to therapy is a shameful thing, because that means there's something wrong with me. And throughout this course I learned that it's not. Um, it's a beautiful method of practicing self-care.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Which is gorgeous. Yeah, and that's a great contrast from when you first started talking about things you used to do, like self-harm, right?
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
used to lash out, you used to run away from what was going on and, just pretend it wasn't happening or ignore it, right? So now we're talking about the absolute opposite. We're talking about, self-love, self-care, self-acceptance, and taking extreme ownership. And that's the kind of 180 that you were able to do in the 9 weeks. That's incredible. That's really incredible.
Yes, that's why I barely recognized the person I was in
Mhm.
February when we had our first call. So
Yeah.
yeah.
That's amazing. Well,
Yeah.
it's an honor just to still know you, to have you be part of the family and part of the community. So anything else you want to share, like maybe by the end of the program, was there any other big changes that you noticed or any transformations?
Yes, actually, I don't want to go into specifics, but every single time we touched a new subject, I was, oh, first my reaction was that, yeah, again, something's wrong with me.
Right.
But then I remember that this is negative self-talk, and I was grateful that I finally learned that I could have done better, and there's a better way of doing things. So this was the theme that first I got overwhelmed that, oh yeah, I wasted so much time going in the wrong direction, and I didn't even notice it. I mean, for most of my adult life.
Mhm.
and and as I learned things through the program, and as I dissected myself, I was like, yeah, that's really a better way of doing things.
Mhm.
Wow, how amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, coming from a place, I love that, of gratitude and happiness that you discovered something like, oh, I see there's a better way to go. There's a better path. And I have that path right in front of me. How awesome is that? And, and also like looking back from a place of self-love, like we don't know what we don't know, so before, when you didn't have those tools, you were just doing the best you could with what you had at the time. But then once you are in this program, you're doing this work and you're keeping that beginner's mind, then from that place you can say, oh, okay, so now I have an epiphany, and now I have tools, and now I can start using those tools, and again, being surrounded by people who understand what you're doing. So I love too, like, you also learn to kind of stop beating yourself up in a way.
Yes. So
Mm-hmm.
I self-love. And also, I think it's important to mention that throughout the end of the program, I grew more compassionate, more understanding, and more accepting, because I learned so much about myself and so much about what what makes people behave the way they behave, and going down to the level of needs was an absolutely life-changing.
Mm-hmm.
And understanding that this is what drives people.
Mhm.
If you understand that, and that just changes how the way I interact with people.
Mhm. Yeah, coming from that place of empathy
Yes,
and compassion first for yourself, right? But then also, yeah, instead of saying, you hurt me, why are you doing this to me, right?
yeah,
You're doing a couple things. You're taking that extreme ownership, but then you can get curious and, I wonder what need that person's trying to meet. That, and then from that place, it's a whole different conversation.
the
Yeah.
whole conversation,
Mhm.
and learning about a very important communication tool as well, that goes down to the level of needs, has changed me, how I interact with the world. It changed my relationships, and it already started to have a ripple effect uh,
Mm.
within the circle of the people I interact with, because we started interacting in a different way, going down to the level of needs, and coming from a place of love. So what I learned has a ripple effect, and how I change has a ripple effect, and that's amazing to see.
Yeah, that is
Yeah.
amazing to see. And it's also great to hear about it because you graduated, I think, what, about maybe 6 weeks ago? Would you
Mhm.
say? Yeah. So you're still seeing that ripple effect and applying everything that we learned.
Yes. Yeah.
That is awesome. Way to
Yeah.
go, B.
And I'm building on this process. So the work hasn't stopped.
Mhm.
I I've never felt this centered in my whole life.
Mhm.
And I admit to myself that, and it's quite obvious sometimes, that I still get triggered, but I became more adaptable with the help of this program, and with the help of these tools. So instead of staying in a triggered state, like a helpless, hopeless state for like days or weeks, or maybe longer, I know that I have tools, I have certain thought processes that I can, yeah. So I have this tool belt, and I just pull out a tool, and start just running it through my head, and that gets me out of that state. So I'm now able to move myself into a better place with the help of these tools. So I'm still a work in progress, as you often say, that
Yeah.
it's going to be a lifetime
Mhm.
learning process, and that's the beauty about it, that there's always something new that I can learn, and I can add, and life brings up new challenges, and I need to find new ways to adapt. But finally, I feel that I have the confidence, and I have the tools with the help of which I can adapt to these situations, and that's a real change.
Mhm.
I've felt so helpless and powerless in the past,
Yeah.
hence with mentality, because it's so much easier to just stay in a helpless state. But now I take charge.
Mhm. I love that. Yeah, and you can see that conviction in your voice too. I love that. I take charge. I've got these tools, and you were able to do all of that transformation in literally just a couple months.
Yeah.
And with those tools, you're continuing that journey, and you're doing it from a place of confidence and empowerment, and just honoring that superhero that was already inside you that you just needed to unveil for all
Yeah.
of us to see, which is incredible. Yeah, and we're human, right? So we're always going to have different triggers because we're going to have emotions, and we've got everything that happened to us in our past. But we
Yes.
can learn how to move through that in a much more empowering way, which is exactly what you did and you're still doing.
Yeah. And it's not an easy thing to get to a better place sometimes, because what I'm trying to change, and what I started changing with the help of your program, is basically my personality, my identity, that I thought I was for 38 years.
Mm.
And I know that I can access a different level, a conscious level, with different tools and different thought processes. But underneath, this subconscious programming still keeps running. But I already started changing things around a few months ago, so I don't expect immediate results. Although I want to happen.
Yeah,
But I have to be patient, because I'm trying to change a lifetime of programming.
right.
So I believe that with practice, the new level, I can automatize it, and that's gonna be my new level. That's how I up level my training and get less triggered and less triggered and less triggered.
Mhm.
So yeah,
That's
this
incredible.
is where I am now.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. And I just, but you're also just, you're glowing, you look joyful. And like I said, you just seem really confident and secure in your own skin. Um, Maybe feeling like some more peace, because again, you started out having a lot of anxiety. Um,
Yes.
how would you say you feel on a day-to-day basis now that's different from how you felt in the beginning?
Oh, entirely different. My core, my deep core has started to calm down. I sleep better. I can regulate my thought processes better, and I have so much better emotional regulation
Mm. Mhm.
now. As I said, I still get triggered because I still have my past, and I wasn't I've not been able to heal from everything that I went through, but it's an ongoing process. But I'm so much calmer because I know that whatever comes up, I can handle this. I can do this.
Mhm. Because you've got the tools and you know how to
Yes.
apply them, and you have the confidence in yourself that, and also that it's your job, you know, it's your job to kind of do your best at the very least. And it's also your job to reach out for help if you need it, and you know that you can.
Yes.
Yeah, which is incredible. Well, B, thank you for everything that you've been sharing and how vulnerably you've expressed yourself and told us about the journey that you've been on. I truly believe that you are on your own heroine's journey, and it's just gorgeous to get to know you. And I also know that you and I are going to continue to be in each other's circles and each other's lives. So, overall, would you say, and for anyone who's wondering, B volunteered to do this interview because she wanted to. I'm not paying her to be here. But would you say overall, and I know that you're in the larger group here in Loving Without Boundaries, would you say that you would recommend this to different people who are kind of struggling, whether they're struggling with jealousy or insecurity or anxiety, or they're trying to live the best version of their most authentic lives and they're kind of falling down and feeling stuck? Would you recommend this program?
Yes, I'm glad that you asked that because 100%. I would recommend this to anyone and everyone. Actually, I would start teaching the contents of this program from late teenage years because
Mm,
I thought about relationships. No one really teaches us about self-empowerment, self-responsibility, or how to heal ourselves. So I definitely would recommend the program to anyone who are willing to do the work, who their inner work, who are interested in healing their inner child,
mhm,
who would like to become a better version of themselves, and who would be more loving, compassionate, accepting, and understanding human beings. And I firmly believe uh, with my whole heart that if more people knew this and did this program and did this work, then the world would be a much better place
mm,
because it can change people for the better, not just feeling more empowered, but also more loving, compassionate, and understanding human beings. And I I I finally love myself
mm.
and finally love who I am. And I've been through my own trauma. I've been through depressive stages and OCD and all sorts of stuff. If anyone interested, I'm really happy to talk about that.
Mhm. That's incredible. That's incredible.
Yes, it's absolutely life changing. And this is the best investment that I've made in myself in my life.
Wow, that's incredible.
And I'd like to thank you for all your amazing work and for all your amazing support.
Mm. It's my pleasure. It's my pleasure. I mean, this is what it's all about, right?
Yeah, this has been an absolutely incredible journey so far.
Mm-hmm. That's
And
yeah. Well, thank you. Thank you. You're gonna make me cry, but I mean, but again, this is why I do what I do, right? It's so great and rewarding to hear somebody like yourself who has really shown up in a really powerful way, who did the hard work, who practice self-care by giving yourself permission to invest in yourself. Because a lot of times people, oh, I've got to, get a new stove, or I've got to take care of everyone around me, and not taking care of themselves. So it's really important to be able to say, no, this is important. My life is important. My happiness is important. My well-being is important. And to also give yourself the gift of time to dive in, to do this work, to create the space to do this.
yes,
So
I'd like to add one more thing, that
yeah.
at the beginning, I went into this program to work on myself, because I wanted to have this certain relationship that I'm in.
Mhm.
And I really thought that yeah, I'm gonna learn some useful tools about how to manage open relationships. But as it turned out, it is really just the tip of the iceberg. This program is about self-responsibility and self-empowerment.
I love
And
that.
and everything I've learned here can be used in all areas of my life.
Mhm.
So it's definitely not just about learning some communications tools, or it's definitely not about how to place the blame on someone. And you reminded me so often of that, because I went to the normal thought process that, nah, this person did this to me, and they make me feel this way, and all you always answer this is, you are responsible for your part and what you're going to do now. So don't ruminate about what the other person does. What you're going to do, how you're going to handle the situation. So it's all about self-responsibility and
Mhm.
self-empowerment.
Yeah. Yeah. And I was about to say, I mean, it is empowering to realize that you have choices.
Yes.
And choices can also be if you realize this, I'm willing to change, but this person over here isn't willing to change. So I'm going to spend less time with that person or remove them from my life, because that's still in your power, right? But and also just owning your feelings, realizing that it can be our thoughts that create our feelings, and we can spin out of control. I love to use the word sabotage earlier. You
Yes.
realized how you were kind of self-sabotaging yourself or sabotaging relationships, which is kind of like that victim mentality. But instead, when you take that extreme ownership, it's so great. Like that's what's so great is you're like, wait a minute, I'm in charge here. I'm in charge of how I feel. I'm in charge of the thoughts that come through my brain, and being able to change those to either what really is true that I wasn't seeing before, like it was a blind spot, or also you get to choose what to focus your time and your attention and your energy on. Like whether you want to focus on what you learned instead of something that's not very empowering. So yeah, I just, you've said it before, but I'll highlight it for people who are watching, which is that you found lifelong priceless tools in
Yes.
this work
Yes.
that helps you across the board. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Including not just your intimate relationships, but like with, family members and friendships and all of that.
Yeah.
That's
I,
incredible.
it feels like I'm really on the path to become the person who I want to be. Before that, I was just lost and I was just a mess and going frantically in all sorts of different directions.
Mhm.
But now I really feel empowered to create that life that I want to live, to live accordance to my values, and to create the relationships that I want.
Mhm. That's awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time, B. So for anybody who's watching, if you are struggling in any of the areas that B's been talking about, if you are looking to live your most authentic life and get tools to be able to be empowered, to have beautiful conversations, to realize that that it all starts with you, then I invite you to book a call, because again, from that ownership perspective, that's just another step along that journey. So so if you would like to have a conversation with me to see if we are fit to work together, you can book a call just like B did. It all started with that at lovingwithoutboundaries.com/apply. And it's just a conversation. So we'll just have a conversation talking about where you are, where you want to be. And if I feel I can help you close that gap by us working together, and probably through the program, but there are other ways that we can work together too, then we can talk about how to do that. We'll put our heads together once I have a deeper understanding of where you're at on that journey. So whether you're struggling with jealousy or insecurity, or also guilt and shame about stepping into who you really envision yourself being, or if you're working towards opening up your relationship and you find that you're fighting all the time or you're not understanding each other, that's what the type of thing that this work can do. So when we had that first conversation, B, did that feel, how did that go for you, having that first conversation?
Oh, wow. I was really a little bit skeptical, and really I was so desperate and so lost, and you said that this can change. This can change, man. You can help me unstuck. So despite my skepticism, I was just, okay, let's do this, because I felt your enthusiasm, and I already listened to your book, and I knew that I was talking to a real person who had similar experiences, and yeah, I just rolled with the dice. And
yeah, that's awesome. And look where you are now. And to me, that was also you practicing self-care, like you said, and also just trusting your intuition. Yeah. And hopefully you felt, the love and the care that's very genuine. I don't like to see people suffer when they don't need to, but it still comes down to, are you ready for change? Are you ready to do the work? So that's also what I'm trying to determine on that first call. So B, thank you so much for your time. You are just amazing and beautiful. And there's going to be lots of great comments here you can look at later in the comments from people who are sending you lots of love and appreciation. So, but I definitely want you to know that I appreciate you taking the time to do this. It really means the world to me. And I'm so just thrilled for you and the success that you've had.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you.
Absolutely. All right. Thank you, community. We will see you soon.
Yeah.
Bye.